My name is Dr. Samuel Ajay. I'm his personal trainer. I've been his personal trainer for the past 12 years. I met Bishop in 2010 when I was doing one of my TV programs in fitness and wellness. And then I got a call from him. And that call, I always don't forget the call. It goes like, "My name is Akpalu. I want you in my house." And I said, "I don't go to people's home." He said, "Please come and see me." And the rest of it is a history. This is a man of encouragement, a man who believes in himself, a man who actually can endure any kind of pain and will tell you, "Look, just do it. Is it going to make me better?" The moment you say yes, he is ready to pick up all that. And being his personal trainer gives you the opportunity to even go as far as to his bedroom. Some of the times we do bed exercise. That's where we started from in the beginning anyway. And you know, any time I'm with him, all the few minutes and hours I spend together is a whole event for me. And anytime I get there, the first thing you hear is the gospel. Sometime before you get to the house, the devotion going on, and then you need to be part of it and all that. And that inspired me a lot. And in fact, I wish it never end. One of the most important lesson I learned from Bishop is the fact that he's always a Christ person. Look, no matter who you are, when you come to him, he's going to introduce Christ to you, no matter your level and whatever. And that is what inspired me to all these levels and heights. And it's so very, very important to me. And you know, he has this character of, "You can do it, I will do it." When he says we should do it or he's going to do it, he never looks back. And those are some of the things I really, really like about him. His laughter, sometimes when he's angry, you can also see it. And all those gestures are things I have really, really learned from him and admired. In fact, I introduced myself as Dr. Samuel Ajay. I think that title is dedicated to the Bishop because when I met Bishop, I was just a Christian, a regular Christian who did not really, take the Bible seriously. But meeting him had inspired me to begin to attend Bible colleges. I went to Manzana College of Theology to go and study underground, even behind his back, because I want to know some of the things he keeps talking about and teaching, how true and how impactful it's going to be to me. So when I got to college, and all of a sudden, I also was made a lecturer. So my progression became so fast that I did my master's and then was also pulled to do my PhD in the course of it, which I actually completed in 2020 November. And in fact, all this is actually by the inspiration of Bishop King Akpalu, and I dedicate this honorary doctorate degree to his memory. My relationship with Bishop is a father and a son, and also a friend and a brother relationship. He calls me his brother. Yes, he never allowed me to call him father, but he calls me his brother. He feels I'm a younger brother to him and all that. And the relationship is always so beautiful. In fact, he wants me to be at every major event that he's attending. Anytime I get there, I act as a bodyguard to him most of the events, either supporting him, moving about and all that. And this is, it's so beautiful. And one of it that I never forget is the moment he sees me, you hear the word Sami. The way he mentioned my names is in a different tone. So even as I'm sitting down here, anytime I'm there, I expect that call, but the call never comes anymore. And these are things I really will not forget about the bishop. He's loving. He's happy. When he's happy, he's happy. He's that loud. I mean, he's happy. When he's happy, he's loud, very loud. And everybody will know around that this man is happy. And when he's sad also, you will see it, that this man is not happy, and you know how to tread cautiously. He's a great man. And I was even telling my congregation the last time that this is another Adam in making, or another Jacob in making. That is a whole nation that he has started. And if the children will be able to actually learn from all that he has taught, this name will never die, and it's going to be one of the greatest names. Will become like the William Tyndalls and the James McKeons that we came to meet in Christianity. And that is going to be very, very great if the children are united and follow the path of their father. So many of them. One of it is during the burial of the wife, 2012. I remembered a man act as a man that changed the whole community, the thought of the whole community. That is what happened. They were supposed to perform some ritual before the burial of the wife. I was with him. And then we go to the family house. They were there dragging. He said, look, I am a bishop. I can't do this. The people continue to drag. The next thing he said is, Sammy and all the people around, get up, let's go. And all of a sudden, we are at where the burial is supposed to happen. And he said, if they lie, they should come and pick the corpse. And that is a very, very, direct action that I never forget. Another one is a man who can dedicate a whole house, not 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom house, 20 bedrooms and all that, to a church and move from it. Listen to the story. The man donated the whole house to the church and moved his family out of the house to go and rent. Who does that? These are things I never forget. And from there, he moved from there to where he is now, which is he used to be now, which is Tetegu, and went to live under tent and build another house. I mean, you don't get it. You don't get such people anymore. So these are things I will never forget about him. There are so many of it. Every event you go with Bishop is a different lesson altogether. You need to learn. And it has inspired me. In fact, he's the best man I've met so far in my life. To be honest with all of us, Bishop is the best man I've ever met in my life, and I am grateful to have met him, and he has inspired me to all these heights. He's principled, and he's for Christ. He has a ringtone that I always remember. Yesu vie menye, Yesu vie menye, which literally means that I'm a son of God. I am a child of God. That ringtone, I don't know, he stopped using it at a point in time, but I never ever, get out of my mind. Is one of the things I always will remember. He will definitely move you to Christ. And whatever he wants to do, he does it. He's a man of principle. Everyone that is watching this video, your purpose on earth, you should identify it. And when you identify it, don't let anything bring you back. No matter the situation, try and go through the storm. When I met him, for 12 years, he wasn't a healthy, strong, running person, but he's always there at every event, every occasion, and will push for it to be done, even if he needs to sit in a car. I remember even the latter days of his life, sometimes sit in a car and go doing supervision and all that. And that is what every person should aspire to be. Whatever you identify your goals in life, stick to it and push, and definitely you're going to get the results. My final words to the family. This is a tree that has been planted. The tree is called the Akpalu tree, or the Bishop tree, Bishop Akpalu tree. To give a full name to the tree, Bishop King Godson Akpalu. This is a tree that needs to be nurtured, that all generations would come and actually take some of the fruits. As I said earlier in my earlier interview, you notice that this man is like the new the new Abraham of our time. The Lord promised him to be a father of many nations. But Abraham literally did not become a father of many nations during his time. But if you look at it from Abraham, Isaac took over. From Isaac, Jacob took over. And today we have a nation of what? Israel. And that is what this man has done. If there's anything that we need to do to remember this man, is to make sure this generation move from strength to strength, from greatness to all the heights that we can be able to get to. And this name should never, ever die. Children should sustain it, grandchildren should sustain it, great-grandchildren should sustain it, and it should go on and on until eternity. Bishop, may your soul rest in perfect peace. I miss you.
My name is Reverend Robert Bulle. I'm the General Secretary of the Good News Evangelical Mission International. Well, I met Bishop Godson King Akpalu early around 2007. Yes, 2007. That is when he was reaching out to drug addicts in Tema. And apparently, I went for the church service, not with the intention to go and listen to the word of God, but after the service, he was reaching out and giving sandwiches and minerals to the drug addicts. So we had the intention to go there and go and have some food to eat because we're hungry and we're in the ghetto. So apparently the time we thought that church service would be coming to an end, getting there, we realized that Bishop was late and church service was rather starting. So we had to sit through. So whilst we're having the church service, he was speaking and laying hands, and then I fell under the unction of the Holy Spirit. And afterwards, hearing how people were addressing me as captain officer, he wanted to know who this person was. So he called me aside and then talked to me. And in fact, he asked me what my problem was, and I told him, and he said, no, this situation doesn't befit a person of such a background. So I told him, well, I've been through all, tried many rehab centers, from Geneva to Vermont, even in Ghana here. And he said I shouldn't worry, but the Holy Spirit, that is the Lord God himself, will see me through if I am willing. And I said, I'm willing. So then he left, and he said, then anytime they have service, we should come. So that was my initial contact. So gradually, as coming to service, we were having interaction with him, and that is how I came to meet Bishop Godson King Akpalu. Well, hospitality, love. Because then I didn't understand it, but having grounded me into the Word of God, I realized that the Bible says love covers multitude of sins. Not that it ignores them, but when it says it covers them, it means it accommodates them such that the person comes to the realization that he is in sin, and then makes an effort to come out of it. Bishop was an accommodating person. He extended his love to where people least expect. I mean, he showed me a kind of compassion, love, and mentorship that I had not experienced anywhere in my life. And so I was drawn to him. Moreover, I had an individual relationship with him. It was more like a father and son and friend and junior brother all mixed into one, And because of his attitude towards God and Christianity, and he was into knowing the word, understanding the word, and teaching the word, I loved the teaching ministry and entered into a teaching ministry. And this time, my office in the ministry is teaching. This is one thing I like about him. You see, it's not that simple. Because when you put a father and son relation into one box, it will be difficult. Because I think certain things we talked about, I don't think he talks to his son with it like that. A brother relation, yes, and a friend. Because one, he respected my age because our age difference was not too much. He was about 8 years older than me. So he gave me that due respect, and he respected the fact that I had also, been through life, having worked for myself, sailed the seas for over 20 years. He respected what I had passed through, and he really appreciated me for who I am. So I would say it was more like brother relation is closer to this thing than any other thing. My fond memories of him. Robert, no matter what, if I'm around, he doesn't use a phone to call me. He doesn't send somebody to call me. He wants to call me himself. He calls out Robert, and I come to him, I sit by him. But what I always remember about him, that always touches my heart, is that when we first came into Dakuma, as drug addicts recovering, in fact we had recovered, and he was then teaching us the gospel is properly, he putting the Holy Spirit in us. When he goes to work and he's coming back, there's an expectation. He comes back with donuts, with banku, food, wache, things that somebody brings to his little children at home. And most often, one thing I always remember is on the New Year's Eve going into New Year, we normally fast the whole time from early in the morning till we enter the New Year. So when he's breaking the fast, wherever I am, go and call Robert. Go and call Robert, and I'll eat with him in the same bowl, hand into the bowl, and eat together. I always remember that of him. He always wants to see me around him, and when I also see him, I get excited. And that's my fondest memory about him. Oh, integrity. I can summarize it into one word: integrity. Why I use the word integrity? Because he defined integrity to me. It's the truthfulness to God, others, and to yourself. He was a man of integrity. Compassion and tolerance. Compassion and tolerance. And he has given me a new look about the ministry. Well, I'll tell those who who were not blessed to have contact with him, is that Christ was an example. You see, he was an example for his disciples. And Bishop also was an example unto us, because he tried to imitate Christ, and always tells us that we should try to imitate him as he imitates Christ. So I'll tell him that imitate his life. Give yourself to the Lord. Be truthful. Accommodate people, because not everyone is the same. This is what I'll tell them. Oh, really? Really? In the first place, he's the one who came, who encouraged me and made... You know, I've been a drug addict for 25 years after being a master mariner. That is a captain of a ship for a very long time, being in charge of a ship. But addiction to hard drugs brought apathy in my life, and I stopped going to sea. In fact, drugs had reduced me to 0-0. But this is a man who saw something good in me and encouraged me. And it got to a time after he had ordained me as a minister, and he sent me out on ministries and the rest. One day he called me, he said, "Robert, I want you to do something extra, because you can only achieve greatness when you do extra things." I said, "Daddy, I am willing." Then he said, "Every Tuesday you leave your mission, your station, come to Accra and assist the General Secretary, because you are computer literate. You can help him write his letters and that kind of thing." So I assisted the former General Secretary, Reverend Kube, and then gradually, getting to know Daddy. I mean, he brought out those hidden administrative part of me, which I had forgotten for over 10 years. He started picking it up. Instead of dictating letters to me, he said, "Robert, go and write the letter and bring it to me." Even his speeches for the General Assembly, or when he's going somewhere, he'll just give me the theme and he'll say, "Robert, go and write it and bring it." And when we bring it, I mean, initially, the early times, he would do a lot of corrections. But in the latter days, he reads it and says, "Oh, my dear son, this is exactly what I want." And so I realized that he groomed me for this honorable position that I am in now. He really brought the good things out in me again. My final words is that Africans say don't cry, but it looks like my eyes are being teary. Daddy, I'll miss you. But thank you so much for allowing me to be part of your life. Thank you so much for availing yourself for God to use you to bring me out from the gates of hell. And now look at me. I've been put on a royal pedestal, the head of the family, which were looking down at me. Now I am the head. It is all through your mentorship, your guidance, and your discipline. Daddy, rest in perfect peace.
My name is Reverend Godwin King Akpalu. I'm the first son of Bishop Godson King Akpalu. Well, my dad, or our dad, cannot be compared to any other daddy, because I know that God purposely brought me into this world through him. The experiences I had with him, I don't know how to explain it, but when I was growing up, I got to know him as a very strict person and a disciplinarian, someone who loved the things of God. I saw him going to the bush sometimes very early in the morning to go and pray and seek the face of God. That was not the end. He would come back in the morning as well and lead devotion, teach us the word of God. We read many scriptures. We went through many rigorous times. There are times that you would have to finish devotion before you go to school. And I had a lot of problems with that. His principle was that he didn't care whether you were his child or not his child, because I can count well over 200 people that have lived with the bishop, right from our Dakuman residence up onto this place. And as we speak, there are still many people here that he was taking care of before his demise. And so, as for a God lover, if you are looking for one on this earth, a faithful one, of course, I can vouch for my dad that he was one. And when you talk about someone who was a disciplinarian, that was our daddy. And I really respect him for that. And I honor him for everything he's done. And I would also like to say that I'm proud of him for all the achievements. There is none that I can say is I'm ashamed of the decisions that he has taken. But this day, I'm here this morning or this day to speak about this great man who has touched many lives, from the youngest to the eldest, in this city, in our village, in churches, in different towns, and even people outside the country can attest to that. Not to even talk of the clients we serve. Everybody, when they heard about his demise, had good things to say about him, even including the recalcitrant ones who left us and are living on their own. So words cannot describe how Daddy had lived on this earth. Though I would say, in a nutshell, that it was a short life he lived. Because I remember vividly on the 12th of March, when he was about to go finally to the hospital and not return, he called me and said, "Godwin, I want to have a word with you." And we had a very long conversation. He told me that I didn't wish to leave at this time, but this is how it has happened. I have to leave. And he told me specifically that, "Look, I don't know whether I'll leave either tomorrow after speaking with you or a month or two or whatever. But he says, I'll wait patiently until my maker calls me, and I will not kill myself." In fact, that very day was a very sad day in my life, but I had to stand it and to listen to all that he had to say as the first son. And so, this short moment, I can't say everything, but what I'd like to say about this great man is that he has really impacted his world. And just like Paul the Apostle said that I have fought a good fight. Indeed, this is a warrior who has fought a good fight. Talk of family, talk of churches, talk of ministers he has raised. Workplace as well. He's really made a mark. And so all I can say is that may his soul rest in perfect peace. I know this is a very difficult time for us because we never expected. In our conversation, I told him, "Daddy, why are you saying all of these things?" He said, "Look, this is what I want to tell you." I said, "Daddy, we planned to do a lot of projects and to do so many other things. So for me, I believe that you are not going to die now. You will live for a while. And to make sure that we finish all these projects for you to bless us, and then you can live in peace." Then he answered me and said, "Yes, the things we talked about are big projects, very, very huge projects. I rather that you take your time and do these projects, and then one day, wherever I am, I can also look upon the earth and see the projects you have done, and I'll be glad that you took your time and you did them in honor of me." So there were deep things we spoke about as a first son, but I think that time will not allow me to say all of these things. So I think this is where I will end it for now. The most important lesson I learned from the bishop is to open your arms to everyone. No matter who the person is, just help. And one thing that I took from him was about the fact that he was ready to spend more on people and spend less on himself. That's what he told me. Godwin, make sure you spend more on people and less on yourself, because whatever resources you have is not for you alone. God gave it to you to be able to help other people, to be able to deliver people from their bondage and from all other things. And I told myself that this is a great lesson and I won't forget about it. The second one being how he loved God even till the end. And it's a virtue and it's a lesson that I will never forget. He stood for the fact that if this thing is right, it is right. Nothing can change it. And like I said, that is why many people saw him as a disciplinarian. He was very disciplined, and whatever he decided to do, he always did it. Nothing will change his mind. He will rather tell you that this is what I want to do. I don't want your opinion, but for me, this is what I want to do, and he will do it. And he always emerged successful in everything that he did. And I think it's a great virtue that anyone listening to me this morning, this afternoon, this evening, or this whatever time you are watching this video, this is a great virtue that you need to adopt. I'll remember Daddy for so many things. The last one will be how he became a best friend to me, because we had all the conversations. Any conversation he had with anyone, he would tell me about it. Anything he had to do, he would tell me about it. I remember in our conversation, I told him, Daddy, I don't have any mother now. You are now my father and my mother. And we all smiled. And then we laughed over it and all of that. So decision-wise, in terms of family, church, or any other thing, I was the first person he would call and discuss with me. And once I gave him my blessings, it will be done. That is how we've moved all through till he went to the hospital and all of that. So many. He had so many impacts in my life. First, he is my spiritual father because he raised me up, trained me. Bible says when you train a child in the way he should go, he will never depart from it. And so he raised me up as a child of God. I got to know how to read the Bible. I got to know how to preach. He gave me the opportunity to preach and even ordained me as a pastor. And I truly appreciate all that he has done for me. He also raised me up and began to teach me how to manage business, although I learned business management in school. But he began to teach me how to manage affairs as a husband and as a boss or as a managing director in a company. And I mean, like I said, time will not allow me to say all that I have to say. But these are the things that I can remember Daddy of, and the things he left with me. You are this morning. I want to say that I really appreciate you for a true life you have lived. Because I don't know how it would have been if another man or another woman raised me up, knowing the personality that I have. You really cut the shape, you really shaped my life and prevented so many things from entering my life. Today, I can say beyond all doubts that the seeds you have sown in me have generated, and have generated, and some are continue, and some will continue to come up because of the things you have left in my life. I want to promise you that I'll take good care of the family. I want to promise you that I'll put my siblings together. We will together take care of the company, the church, the family, and do the big projects that you told me to do. I also want to promise that just as you lived a good life and touched many lives, all these things will never be swept under the carpet. It will continue to the glory and praise of the Lord's name. And I wish to say that I am missing you already since you left us. The conversations we used to have is no more. But I know that one day, just as scripture says, we are going to meet, and we'll continue those conversations we used to have in time. Thank you very much for taking care of us. Thank you very much for raising us, and thank you for how far we have come as a family. Until we meet again, I love you so much, Daddy. Bye-bye for now.
My name is Reverend Hansen Zamefe. Bishop Godson, King Akpalu, was my very good friend and a colleague. We were ordained on the same day by the same pastor. And since then, we had been very good friends. We have very good working relationship. But before I got to know him, a friend called Mr. Akpalu, he called me and informed me that Reverend Akpalu has got a branch of the EP Church in his house, so I could worship there. So he went and introduced me to him. And since then, I've been going for worship Sundays and morning devotions during the weekdays. And the relationship had been very good. He's a good pastor. He teaches very well, he preaches very well. And on weekdays, we had morning devotion, and he put me on the roster, the preaching roster. And I had been preaching since then during the morning devotion. And then on Sundays, we worship in the house until we moved the place of worship to a new place we found. And we continued worshiping together until he had a vision to start a new church. He went through the formal processes by going to tell our moderator of the EP Church, taking permission from him so that he could start his own church. They granted him the permission, and he came and informed us. But I told him that both of us could not leave our congregation because the flock we had would be stranded. So I was not going to join him with his new church. However, I was prepared to assist in any way. I was prepared to teach anytime that I'm invited to teach. That is how we were operating until I went on retirement, and I went home. At home, my son, who also happens to be one of his pastors, bishop's pastors, informed me that the bishop was sick. So I called him and he said I should come over. I came over and tried to help with some medications that I knew about the type of illness that he was suffering from. He appeared to have recovered completely before I left back to my hometown. But I was there, I called one day, and then he told me that his thing has become worse. You see, so I had been praying with him. He's a good friend. We pray together and we fast together when need be. But this particular one, I continued to pray, hoping that the Lord was going to heal him. But what happened later on, that he passed on. I was informed that he passed on. So I rushed down to see the children so that I could encourage them. I could advise them at this particular moment that is often referred to as trigger events, so that they will not be discouraged, completely discouraged. Yes, he is a very kind man. He was always prepared to share. What I remembered when I entered that place was that I saw that fellowship was so good. People, it appeared as if all of us belonged to the same family. Anytime after morning devotion, for example, nobody is permitted to leave without having a cup of tea. And that was funded from his own pocket, not the church money. And on Sundays too, the same thing happened. What is worth noting too is that he decided that all people that could help in the improvement of the congregation, he will send them to Bible school. So he sponsored many of us to the Vitre International Bible School for 3 years, 3 Saturdays within the year. We went, he himself also went. And those of us who went, who benefited, were not only from the church, some of them from other branches of the EP church, for which he paid the fees and anything that was necessary. After every school time, he took all of us to his house, and all of us had to have lunch. And it was not permitted, nobody was permitted to leave without having their lunch. He would take it as if you don't want to cooperate with the other brethren. And on Sundays too, after worship, we normally sit down. He will chat with all of us, those of us that were in leadership positions. It's also worth noting that after every Sunday worship in the evening, we sit down, he will preside, and then we will take a topic, biblical theme. He will teach on it. We will discuss it to the best of his satisfaction. If he wasn't satisfied, we will continue the discussion until he found that everybody understood what he was teaching. No, what we learned from him was that I told you, he has so much love. He showed love to everybody. Everybody was accepted in his house. Anybody who wants to worship, he accepted him. And one of his best songs is hymn 307 from the Every Hymn Now, which is Mercy, Hwa Yesu Dise Naneke Manglea Bou Yata Madea Jogbebe Nyala Fekluviko Mazu Zile Ponye Mema Temu Awa Nusianu Si Nelo. In fact, this hymn encourages especially new people that if you accept Jesus Christ, there is nothing you should fear. That is why I have decided to become a slave to Christ, that I can do everything that He wants me to do. That is one of His favorite hymns, and that is one of my favorite hymns too. You see that when this hymn is sung in the church, you see many people become so encouraged, so excited. Their faith is increased, that whatever they do for Christ will not be in vain. Yes, in actual fact, the way we related and encourage people, other members of the church, that they should share fellowship. They should all be one, just as Christ said that all must be one. Oh yeah, in actual fact, I'll miss him very much, whether during worship or even in the house. I think if there should be somebody in the congregation that was close to him, I think I was one. We met. I could enter his bedroom if he's there. He would say that I should be there with him. Even if nobody will be invited in, I will. So I miss him a lot. Last night I was trying to seeing whether I could put up this thing, but in fact, I was going to even tell his children that it may be impossible for me to put up this particular program, because I wasn't myself. I missed him. What I want others to learn about him is that his selfless life. He was prepared to give out everything. And I remember when we broke the church, the EP church broke into two. Into what is EP Church Ghana and EP Church of Ghana. So when the church became EP Church Ghana and EP Church Ghana, there was confusion. There was some there was some setback, because EP Church of Ghana became global. Even though he wasn't part of global, he decided to help the global church at his hometown, Chita. He bought some building materials, iron rods, and sent it to them. However, they didn't accept the offer for the reason that he may allow the townspeople to have meetings at the church. You know, he's so benevolent. He's been so kind to people, selfless. So they were thinking that if the church should accept those gifts from him, the church people will have other meetings, and the townspeople will have some other meetings in the church which may not be accepted by the church. So they rejected it. That same iron rod, he brought it back to Accra. He was selling it first. He brought it back to Accra and gave it to the EP Church Ghana, the Dakuma Bethel Church, for which he was the founder, the founder of that branch. So we accepted it and we use it in making extension to our chapel. All the iron rods that about 3 tons or so, we accepted them, we used them. And what I can remember also is that when we were roofing our chapel, he bought all the roofing sheets that we use for this thing from his own pocket. It was not from church funds. And he did many other things for the church. For example, if we were traveling somewhere, probably to support one of our members who lost a relative, he offered his pass, which to the people they're free. He didn't collect any money from the church members. So there are many other things which I may not be able to remember all right now to say. So briefly put, he was of tremendous help to the Dakuma EP Bethel congregation.
My name is Reverend Gabriel King Akpalu, and the third child of Bishop Godson King Akpalu. Yes, sir, like I always call him. He also say yes, sir. Anytime I go to his room, that is what he will say. He will call you yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right. My dad was somebody who really is appreciative. At times I get surprised when something a feat has been achieved, or he wants something done and it is done. You see him come to your room to come and thank you for everything that has been done. Right. As a father and a son, I've been blessed I was a third, and people will say the last born. I've been blessed to have, learn a lot and enjoy some kind of privileges from him. He's one person who gave me a lot of opportunities. I remember when we were in the EP church, and it was time for harvest. My dad made me the chairperson at that young age. We went to Accra. He bought me dress. He bought me shoe. He gave me money. He told me what I'm supposed to do as a chairperson for the program. Everybody was surprised, but my dad gave me that great opportunity to build that aspect of me. I remember learning how to preach. The first time I had to preach during a Children's Day program, he wrote the message for me and he told me, Gabriel, read the message and look at the people. And that is how come I learned how to preach by the grace of God. I remember 2013 when I spoke at TEDx Osu. When I finished speaking, the white lady walked up to me. He says, this is really the son of a preacher. And there's one thing my dad normally says when I go on TV to go and speak. One time, he told me to go represent him and talk about mental health, And when I was on set and I came home, he's like, he shook hands with me and said, hey, Gabriel, you've done very well. And when you're speaking on TV, I saw myself in you. Most of the times you hear people say, hey, you resemble your father. Hey, you resemble your father, and all that. So as a father and son, I've enjoyed a very good relationship with him. He's somebody who cares. He wants the best for you. He will tell you when we're kids that whatever you need, write it on a paper and put it on my table, and I'll make sure I get that sorted for you. And I'm sure I mean, he being a businessman and he likes writing, because when I went through his documents, I realized that he was somebody who really liked writing. If you are talking, there's anything to be done, he pulls a paper and then he's writing. I think I've also learned that aspect from him. So he was somebody who, learns to pay attention to details and all that to make sure things are done. And when you do something wrong, I mean, he will punish you for it as a father because he wants the best for you. So for me, between my father and myself, I see somebody who really invested into his child. He invested a lot into me. After senior high school, he made me do languages because his clients in German embassy were German. So he thought it wise that I should go and take a course in Goethe Institute. So I did German. After I did some French and all that before formally continuing my education in the university. So as a father and son, he's been somebody who has, been very focused and helped all of us. I remember on my marriage issue, it was quite tough, but I respected him. I respected him at that point when he told me what he wanted, and I also had to, just agree and make sure we have the father relationship together. So him being my father, he's played a good role taking care of us. Whatever we need, he would give it to us. I remember one time when I was going to the senior high school, he called us. We went to lunch in Papaya, and then after eating a full plate, he asked me, "Gabriel, will you want to take another one again?" I told him, "Oh no." It's like, "No, you are going to school and you must eat." But I told him that, "Hey, I'm okay. I'm fine with that." So, playing together, yes. Yes. I remember one time there's a little disagreement, and back in the university, I stood for SRC president. I didn't win anyway, but the name I chose was One Gabi, and he chose to call me One Gabi. And so when he does something I'm not happy, he just mentions One Gabi, and he knows that will calm me down and all that. So he knew your soft spots. He knew where to, support you to make sure you get things sorted. One time he looked at me and said, "Gabriel, are you ready? Are you ready for what I'm doing?" I said, "Yes." He said, "If you're ready, then get ready for all the hard times, because I'm going to take you through a lot of stuff." I said, "Okay, no problem. I'm ready for that." So as a father and son, my dad has really impacted a lot into us. I speak and people tell me you talk like your father. So he really invested a lot into me, and most of the places he goes, he said, "Gabriel, come and let's go." I go with him and all that. I remember one time, I will not forget this moment when he took me on those times he had a motorbike. He took me behind. We went to 37 on the run. He bought pizza and Coke, and with him, just the two of us, we sat down and then we ate. One other time he was driving, I was in front, and then he told me he bought a lot of kebab. He knows I love kebab, so he bought a lot. And I was just eating the kebab because it was nice. And at the point he said, "Gabriel, no, I want to teach you an important lesson here. When you have any food and you are eating, you must not eat all. Learn to take some home and go and give to your wife, so your wife can also enjoy whatever you have." And so he taught me that about marriage and all that. So as a father and a son, my dad has really impacted a lot into me. He's really invested a lot into me, giving me a lot of opportunities. And, getting close to the end of his life when he was not too well, most of the programs he asked me to represent him and all that. Mental health, I was there to represent him on all fronts. I was there. Right, and I remember when I was going to launch my book on the 13th September 2014, the chairperson to chair the program was not around. And then I went to him, knocked on his door and told him, "Yes, sir, this is it. The person is not there. I want you to chair." He's like, "Gabriel, this is..." But I'll try. And he did. And later he told me, "Gabriel, you're the first person to bring me back into the university." Because after finishing school in 1974 and coming to Accra, he couldn't continue, but he was happy through my book launch. I brought him to the university. Now, as a person, he was somebody who is very principled. My dad is somebody who very principled, and he has passion. Once he has told himself he wants to do this, he'll go all out and make sure he get it done, no matter what happens. And he was somebody that we all supported. We believed in him. I believed in him. Whatever he says, we believed and we followed. In everything that he wanted to do, every decision he discussed with us, we were, ready to go. I remember when we lost our mom, he called all of us down and said, "Listen, your mom is gone 10 years ago. We lost mommy 29th June, buried on 25th August. He told us, "Listen, mommy is gone. So now it's not time to cry. Now let's come together and make sure we give your mother a befitting burial." And that was it. We all followed through and made sure Mommy, had a befitting burial. So Daddy as a person has done a lot, and he's someone who mentors others and believes in other people and want to give the opportunity to also work things out. As a bishop in the church, now my dad ordained me. I remember the day we were being ordained, I was crying, I was all teary, I didn't understand. But he ordained me, and I think that's also giving me focus in what I needed to do in life. And I'm happy he ordaining me and empowering me to do the work of God. It's very important. And I've had the opportunity to work closely with him at some of the general assemblies. I wrote the speech for him. It's like, yeah, bro, who taught you this? But I knew I picked that from him because, hey, Daddy was a brilliant chap, very brilliant. He would tell you when he was in JHS 1, he was teaching those in JHS 3. I knew he was somebody who was very brilliant and very smart and all that. So, I wrote his speeches for him. I remember mental health, when we have the World Mental Health Day, where he was a chairperson or he was the president for the Ghana Mental Health Association. I was there. I wrote his speeches for him. Sometimes when I was unable to go, he told me, Gabriel, go and read the speech for me, and you see me there reading the speech for him. So as a church, before the starting of the church, even when we were in the EP church, before we left, I remember I was in school, right? And then he came to me. That time he came and told me, Gabriel, we are going to ask for permission from the EP church to leave, and come and join and start, to leave, yes, and to start our church. And then when he came to my school and he told me about that before finally making the decision. And well, I supported him. I've seen him done things, one time when he heard the EP church was divided some years back, he decided to bring both factions together, to bring the church together. And I saw him doing all that, with regards to the church. And, going back to the hometown in 2001 when we had the crusade, we come from Juta Volta region where there's pure idol worship and all that, and he decided we partnered with the Council of Churches and then to have a crusade. We had one crusade in 2001, and 2003 we had another crusade. And thanks be to God, today there are a lot of church buildings in the town, and idol worship is out. Even in the family, idol worship is out. And those are his initiatives, very passionate. I remember he doesn't joke with devotion. Yes. He doesn't joke with morning devotion. That is the secret. I remember when we were writing a message to the EP church where he started before, 25 years ago, he was talking about it. He started from morning devotion, and now the church came out. So that's one thing about him with church. He loves people. He loves to eat with his pastors when we're done with any program. He loves to show love to them, give to them, and all that, open hands and make sure they are okay. That's the kind of person he is, and that's what has kept the church, wherever we are as it stands now. So my dad was somebody, with regards to church, he was so passionate for the things of God. I remember one time where, there was lighthouse in the church and there was lighthouse at home, and we had a generator at home. Right, there was light at home, but there was no light in the church. He told us, turn off the generator, take it, and take the generator to church. And that day he slept in darkness, but the church had to be in light. And that's, an example of somebody who was passionate for God and ready to do a lot for him. When we lost our mom, he called us. I remember the place, East Legon, around Starbite. We were going to get some stuff there, and he told us, that he wants us to move out of the house, which we've been in for over 20 years, and get a place so that the church can grow. Now, when he said that, I didn't think twice about it. I just supported him that if you say so, we believe your leadership, let's go. So we got 3-story building, rooms in there. Had a lot of comfort and all that. We checked out of the house, moved into a rented apartment. Family members were like, hey, you guys, what's up? But we moved out of the family. We moved out of that house and checked into another facility. And then from there, we came into this place that we are now. So he was somebody who was ready to sacrifice for God. I remember when we started the church building project at the headquarters. Now, that morning before we went, he called me, he said, Gabriel, bring the checkbooks. He said, how much do you think we need to finish this church project? And I gave a speculated amount. He said, write the checks. Write all the checks. So that day, when we went to church, we presented the checks to the church, telling them, he said, we have to support the church building project. And that is what he has been doing for some time now. Even with regards to the business, he says that, hey, the tithe in the business must come to the church. That's just to tell you how passionate my father was when it comes to, supporting the kingdom business, pushing and making sure the church moves on. Right. Now to talk about business, he was somebody who, believes in his vision. Right. He believes in the business. Now he learned the job. He worked in Watson Services for 17 years. And then after that, he started his own business. That's King's Parking and Services Limited, and also King's Funeral Home Repatriation and Cremation. He understood, he went through, learning for like 17 years. Sometimes he would share the story where a small boy came in and pushed him down, but because of the values he had for work and a strong work ethic, he would leave the boy to go, even though he can beat that boy, but he just left him to go. And he started his own business. And glory be to God. I mean, the diplomatic cycle always speaking very good about him. One time Dr. Lawrence Tete once mentioned that he called him because there was a business with the Hungarian embassy, and he's like, who are you? I thought that everybody is saying good things about you. Everybody is saying good things about you. That's the kind of person that we had, who was the MD of King's Parking and Services Limited, and also King's Funeral Home Repatriation and Cremation. So that's the kind of person he was in business. I remember one time he was not well. He was shivering. We had to go do some inspection. I was driving by then, and then I told him, Daddy, from the way I see you, you are shivering. Let's go straight to the hospital. He said, no, let's go to the client because it's very important. The competitor might be there and take the business from you. So even in the 6 states, we went with him. He was talking to the client. He was shivering, but he tried climbing. That time he couldn't walk too well, but he still insisted that he would go. He climbed to about the first floor, checked everything, and then we came back. Straight away from the client's house, we went to the hospital. And there's one thing too that he taught me. One time he was sick, and it was at night. That time I was sleeping by him. That's after we lost our mom. And then my dad told me, Gabriel, when I'm sick, don't talk about hospital. Lay hands on me and pray for me. And so I laid my hands on him and I prayed for him. In the morning when we woke up, he was very fine. So in regards to business, he's somebody who is passionate, a very good organizer. When it comes to putting things together, he's on point. I remember when the German Chancellor came to Ghana, our company was in charge, King's Parking was in charge. And I mean, we worked it out and we had good, reviews and feedback coming out from all those you have worked with. So he's somebody who stood the grounds and really pushed. He kept on saying this, that, hey, I started this alone, but when you guys come together, we can push and go further and get this thing sorted. So in regards to business, he has been a real example to all of us as to how to, do business. I remember I learned a lot of administrative issues from him. Most of the times when it comes to some administrative concerns, he called me, let's go to the office, and then we'll sit down, tell me, do everything. I'll do everything for him to make sure he's happy. And of course, in business, you have to make your boss happy. So my job was to make sure my boss was okay and he was happy and all that. So with regards to business, he's been a good leader and he's run the business very well. And I remember when I spoke about the future of the business, he told me, Gabriel, put the ideas together, bring it, let's discuss, and let's see how we go and all that. There are times, yes, there are some few issues here and there, you want some things done, he also say, can you take your time a bit and all that, but it's all for good, you can't live in a human society where there are probably not little bits of agreement or disagreement here and there. So with that, he's been a good example. Now, at the Miami Landlords and Residents Association, where we moved to Miami, Southwest McCarthy Hill, Tetego. Now, you see, I remember I kept telling him, Daddy, let's move here. Let's come in here. He was, dragging his feet here and there. But at some point, he really got the edge because at times I'll virtually go to him in the morning and tell him we have to go. I'll get angry at him, say we have to come here. And so when it got him to come here, he told me he was coming. There was no building here. He said he doesn't care. He's coming here. And could you believe it? He said he would love to sleep under canopy and make sure build a place for him to come in, and that's it. So it's not going to go back. And truth is, he left and came here. And I couldn't leave him because that time I was living with him, So I came here with him. We both slept under the canopy, taking care of him here and there, and until we put up a structure and we moved into it, gradually developing the place. And we are here. And we came to meet an association here, Miami Landlords and Residents Association. And my father was somebody who was very instrumental. We had a tipper truck, and he was ready to use a tipper truck to buy, gravels and fill the road, and to make sure the road is okay. Today, the roads, the Miami House Street we see here, he's contributed immensely, making sure, this thing gets sorted and putting the people together. You see the leadership aspect of him, putting the landlords and residents, all these people together for us to have this association was good. And after, pushing this and making this thing real, he said he doesn't want to be the president. He just wants to be like a patron and all that. And that's what he has been doing. Guess what? We have a meeting in auditorium that is here. And that is where we have been meeting and talking about issues when it comes to, this community and how we can develop it. I hear him encouraging other people to come. You encourage them, come and live here, come and stay here, for this place is good, this place will help you and all that. And that is is what he has been doing with the Miami Landlords and Residents Association. They all call him Bishop. You encourage people, he makes sure people make payments and all that. So he's an example in the community. Everybody loves him for what he does. And for me as a leader, he has been a great leader. Everybody look up to him, being in church and otherwise. And he's a strict person. He wants the right thing to be done. And once you are there for the wrong thing, he's not interested in you and all that. So my final words, my dad has been a good man. I will miss him. I remember those times we go and swim. When he wants to swim, he will call me. I didn't know how to swim. I was born in Accra. And he has been swimming from childhood. So we go to Tesano Clubhouse to go and swim, and then we go, once you are swimming, we are not too good at it, then you'll be laughing at us. I see you guys. You were born in a cry, if you know how to swim. And yes, we've enjoyed good times together, going to the mall. At times you go to the mall, tell you buy anything you want and all that. He spends on us to make sure we are okay and all that. So my dad has been a great example. We'll miss you, Daddy. We'll miss you at times when you come to him in the morning. Even my wife, he likes my wife so much. And my wife also likes him so much. And he told me one thing, that we are two boys. He said, when you marry, your wife should be bringing me soup and stuff to eat. And I was glad my wife did that a lot of times. Gave to him, brought food to him to eat, and blessed her a lot of times before finally, he leaving us. So Daddy, we are going to miss you a lot. Just bear in mind that you've invested a lot into us. You've shown us a real passion. You've shown us dedication to your passion. And I want to say that God bless you for coming into this earth. And I'm happy, coming in as your son. And I'm very grateful. God bless you. I know you've gone to be with the Lord, but you're watching and seeing whatever is happening here. All I want to say is that we're going to give you a befitting burial. And then whatever you started, that you've given us the urge on to do, we are going to do that. And guess what? The King Akpalu name is going to go so far in this world, and you're going to be happy wherever you are. Thank you very much, Daddy. We'll miss you so much. And thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, sir, like I always say, I'm always happy when I introduce you in church as my father and also the bishop of the church. I'm always happy when I do that. And I'm glad I celebrated you way before you went to be with the Lord. So, Daddy, rest very well. And may your soul rest in perfect peace. Thank you.
So my name is Matilda Akpalu again. And Daddy says my name is Matilda King Akpalu. Apparently, I was not using King. And so Mommy's demise. And by God's grace, I'm the second child of Daddy or Bishop. He has been my father, my boss, and my bishop. My father as in my biological father. My boss is my boss in the company I work with and is my bishop in the Good News Evangelical Mission International. He's my bishop, he's my head. So that's about it. So Daddy, I choose to call him Daddy because that's how I used to call him. And then Daddy was a very good man. And the few years I've known him as his daughter, I think I was not close to Daddy. It was after Mommy's death when I got closer to Daddy. I think right from school, I used to be scared of him because of the way he used to shout and the way he used to be strict. I used to be scared of him, so I was not too close to him. Even those times, asking him for certain things, I was using Mommy. I would go to Mommy, I need this. And Mommy would be like, look at all these people in the house. We used to have a lot of people in the house. I think at the time, we used to have over 50 people staying with us in the house. And Mommy would be like, why don't you go to your father and ask her? I tell him, I'm not close to Daddy. But after Mommy's demise, that is 2012, I got the opportunity to get closer to Daddy. So I think for the past 10 years, we have been very close. And we became extremely close when all the guys left the house. When my Gordon got married and left, Gabriel too had married. So he was left with myself and him, and we became very close, very, very close, to the extent that there were times that we sit down and then we talk, especially on Saturdays, for 3 hours. I'll go to his room and we are talking. And we are discussing issues. We are discussing things about the house, the church, the family, everything. So that's how close I became with Daddy. I've learned that you should be truthful always. One of his hallmark was truthfulness. Daddy was someone who makes sure that you speak the truth. If you start telling lies to him, you become his arch enemy. You never be close to him. So truthfulness, that is his main attributes. And that was what I learned from him. That regardless, whether you are being pushed to the wall, whether you are suffering, no matter what it is, be truthful. Because truthfulness will take you to greater heights. The other thing too is being a good Christian. He stood as a good Christian. He never stopped praying. He never stopped praying. He never stopped preaching the word of God. And every morning, he was always at devotion. Whether he was sick or not, he was always at devotion. And was a great disciplinarian too. He never stopped using the cane on the children. And it was the cane that was what landed him what brought him some of these problems that he went through. He was a great disciplinarian. But one thing that I want to boast about is that he disciplined everybody, but by God's grace, he never touched me with his cane. As for that one, it's a very good thing that I'll always talk about. Yes. Okay, so Daddy was my fighting partner. We always fight. We always disagree to agree. But one thing I loved about Daddy was that when you do the wrong thing and then he chastises you, the next moment he's using his right hand. So he had that the rod and the staff, like Jesus Christ, like the Psalm 23, the Good Shepherd. He said he uses his rod and his staff to comfort him. So if he uses his rod to hit you, he will use the staff to bring you back to himself. And that was how Daddy was, almost always, all the time. He always brought me to himself, and then everything was okay. So, fond memories of Daddy. The talking, both of us sitting down to talk. We talk about issues, everything concerning the house. I remember times that he told me the plans he has for his house here, the plans he has for the company, the plans that he has for the church, and we kept talking about it, most especially the house. He told me he'll build this thing here, and then you have swimming pool here, and all those are memories. All those things are memories that he has left behind. And I also remember that he kept telling me things about Mommy. He would tell me that Mommy was like this, make sure you be like her. The good things that Mommy always did, he always kept telling me, make sure you be like Mommy. And he said he always thanked God for the life of Mommy. So those also are memories that are there for me to remember. Daddy stood for truthfulness. He always stood for truthfulness. Truthfulness had been his hallmark, and he always stood for it. He always stood for Christ. Always for Christ. I remember during the last General Assembly, he told me that, Matilda, we have to go for the General Assembly. I said, Daddy, you are not well. And then he told me, but I have to go. So he told me he would go there, and then after the first part, he'll go and relax, and then after that, he'll come back and continue. But I think after the first session, he called me again and he told me, I can't. He used to call me Mati. I can't. So we have to come back home. And I kept telling him, but Daddy, you said you'd be there. You would sit there the whole day. He said, I can't. I'm not feeling too well. But then he was sick. But I was trying to push to be there. So he stood for truthfulness and he stood for Christ. So the way we used to fight. yes, the way we used to fight or we used to disagree, I would remember Daddy for that. And the way we used to converse, we converse all the time, we talk all the time and say all manner of things. I'm going to miss all those things about him teaching us about Christ. He did a lot of things. He taught us about Christ, and I think I'm going to miss all those moments. The shouting, yes, I'm going to miss all those moments. Those are big memories that he has left us. He has left with us. It's difficult, but I know that God is going to help us. And in the company, there were lots of things, especially I used to answer the mails and all those things. There were times that clients will come to you and then they are pushing you for certain information and things. And sometimes I say, Daddy, let's answer them this way. I'll write a long mail. And then you tell me, no. In the business world, we don't talk like that. So just answer them this way. And there are also memories that I'm going to miss so much. And he was a good man. Daddy was a good man, and we are going to miss his benevolence. The way he was a selfless man. He would rather look after others and leave the home. There were times that we had problems at home, but he believed that lifting up others would also lift him up. So there were times that he would look at others, lift them. There were times that we were angry. We were like, but you see, we also have this problem at home. Why are you saying to those people? And he would tell you that, see, you have to put others first. I'm going to miss all those moments and all those times. So life is about being truthful. That's what I would say. I would advise everybody. Be truthful. Stand for Christ. Be benevolent. Be good. Help others. There was a man who came to the house on Saturday and was telling me that he has never known him. He is a laborer who is working with the project that is going on in the house. And he was like, people asked him, where have you been going these days? And he told me, I've been working at a place at Tetegu. They said there is one bishop who has that. And he said, the people kept wailing, the people kept shouting. Why? They said, this man was a good man. So be good, be benevolent, help others. Jesus Christ came and he helped others. So if you help others, people will remember you tomorrow. So my word of advice for everyone is: 1, be truthful. 2, help others and stand for Christ. So my final words is to say that, Daddy, we are going to miss you. And there were a couple of things, or a lot of things that you had planned that you wanted to do, but God took you away. I keep saying that you left too early. You left very early. I wish you could have hit 70, would have celebrated you more, but God knows best. So all I will say is that you should continue to rest peacefully. You should continue to rest in the bosom of the Lord. He has left us, and He has left us with a great task to continue His work. I know it's not going to be easy, but with the help of God, we would be able to do it. May God cause His soul to rest well. And as we are preparing for His burial too, God should grant us the grace to be able to prepare for His burial. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
My name is Reverend Richard Fumi Blausi. I met Bishop in the year 2006 when we had some group of evangelists and group of pastors from America who visited our local assembly, and they were having some programs. And after the program, we hosted them at a hotel called Queen's Hotel at Kotobabi down, just close to the former EP church, Presbyterian Church, Global, now Global. So that was where I was with the visitors, and he came in with a motorbike. He was riding on a motorbike, and he got up, thick, tall man. And then I was asking Reverend Dan that, this man, is the motorbike not too small for him? And then he heard it and he laughed. And that day, we sat down, we ate, we drank, and then he gave them some batik tie and dye dresses as their gift, because I think they were supposed to leave the following day because they had finished their program. In fact, they didn't visit, like they visited our church, but when he heard that they came to do a thing like that, he found the need to come and fraternize with them and then know them. So that was how I met him for the first time. My friend seated here was there when we all met him for the first time. So that is how I met him. And then from there on, I started hearing a lot of things about him. They said there were some people who stole from his container, and instead of arresting them, he said they were on drugs. That's how come they did what they did. And then they decided to send them to a village called Kodiabe, I think so. So Reverend Dan invited me to go there. So we go and encourage the people at Kodiabe. But, you know, I am that type who doesn't make friends too quickly. So I was reluctant. But time went on. Then he started inviting me. We started meeting up. And then finally, around 2009, one day we were in church, we closed church, and then Reverend Dan called me, who was my pastor then, and told me that he had had discussions with Bishop King Akpalu and that he wanted us to join and then become one church. And I sat down quietly, and then I asked him, are you sure of what you want to do? And he said, oh, they have been praying about it. Then I told him, okay, I'm just helping you. So if you think that is what you want to do, fine. But I want you to know that when we get there and I don't feel comfortable, I'll take my Bible, put it under my armpit, and then I'll leave. Then he said, okay. Then we came. And when we came, we started becoming more closer. He started loving me. I started also loving him. We started getting into each other. And you know, he's a business person, I'm a business person. So it looks like because of that, we were flowing. And we had a lot of fun memory about each other. When he has anything, he calls me, we discuss. And he will always tell me that big minds work together. So that is how come I got to know him. And so in the church, we were in the church. And, you know, when I came to the church earlier on, I come and then in fact, I don't go out there. I don't try to put myself into things. There was a corner in the temple that when I come, I sit there quietly trying to observe how things are going. because already I have said in my mind and told my pastor that when I come and I don't like the place, I'll leave. So I was just preparing the grounds for myself so that if I didn't like the place, I'll just move out. But the way he was relating to me changed my mind towards him. And then along the line, they traveled to the north. So when they traveled to the north for a crusade, so they left some of us at the back, and then he and the rest of the people, they left. So we were there. They went, they came back, they went again and came back, and we were there. So at a later time, he called me and then told me that he wanted to relinquish the church to me. He wants me to be the one heading the headquarters assembly. And I was like, quiet. Then he said, look, I have said it, I have finished, so you just go. So I had to leave. And when I went to tell Reverend Dan looked at me and said, hey, you are lucky. Oh. That man, he doesn't give things to people just easily like that. So he's seen something in you, that's how come he's done that. So we were there. Then I started the church, and as we went along, I told him that we needed to set up a marriage counseling committee in the church. Then he said, okay, if you have said it, go and form it, go and set it up. Then I went and set it up. Then since then, I became the one who counsel couple when they want to marry. And I think a lot of the people who came through the church who married, most of them, if not all of them, have gone through counseling through me. And that one too, Reverend Dan said, hey, you've won the man's heart too. So gradually, I say, so we were there, and then finally, they decided to now reorganize the church, select leaders. So I was also selected amongst the 5 topmost leaders of the church, which is the General Assembly executives, which I am one of them. So I would say we have come a long way. We have grown to love each other. There are things that if everybody says it, he will not listen. If I say it, he will listen. I remember those days when Mommy was alive. When there are challenges, I just come to the church and Mommy sees me, then she will run to me, go and corner me and tell me that, you see your brother, he and Godwin, he and Gabriel, this, that. Go and talk to him. Then I will go. When I go and I start now, what did Mommy tell you? Then we'll talk. He says, Devio, ufurem nama. Nama biankuro unchewa, oman nanakazuko. Then we'll talk. Then say, okay. You have heard. Then that will be the end of it. So whatever the problems are, it's solved somehow there. So this is how we continued. So I would say the 2 of us are very cool. We became like a senior brother and his junior brother, but we listen to each other. When I need some counseling, he calls me and talks to me. When there is something that I think that I should tell him, and I know that none of our pastors can say it. As for me, I can say it because he has that respect for me. And I also have that respect for him. So we continued like that. And I'll say we have been good. The last thing I can say is that, for some years now, I decided to set up a program for him, which is for his birthday, and he keeps fighting me. He keeps fighting me that he doesn't want anybody to celebrate his birthday. Then I tried to change the name. I do a lot of things just to make him happy, to appreciate what he has done for everybody. And then I think the last one we held was, I think last 2 years. Was it last year? I think last year or this year is this year that we didn't have any setting because he became ill and there was no way we were going to be able to hold that program. He said it shouldn't be his birthday, so I changed it. I said Founders Day, and then he said he doesn't even like that one. If we want to celebrate something, we should celebrate when the church was established. But in all these things, I'll try and talk, and then eventually I convince him to buy into the things, though he may not like them. So I'll say the two of us have been good. He is a nice person. He loves God. He puts his resources at the service of God. He has done a lot. He has won a lot of souls. Like I was talking about the people who he said they were drug addicts and so on. I think our General Secretary, the love he showed to him and all that, is now an asset to the church. I have also had a lot of support from him, and it has also helped me, and I have come this far in the work of God. He is a good man. He's a God-fearing man. And may God help him. May he, all that he has done on earth, may it not go waste. Those of us that he has left behind, it is my prayer that we hold the fort and push even harder than he did, so that on that day we will all meet in heaven and rejoice over what he has done. Thank you, and God bless you, Bishop. May God keep you in his bosom till we meet again. Amen.
Okay, my name is Bishop Evangelist Yao Paul, and I'm the deputy. I was the deputy general superintendent of the Good News Evangelical Mission, while Bishop was the superintendent, the general overseer. He's my covenant brother. He's somebody. He's very close. I'm close to him. And he's also close to me. In fact, I can never describe such a man like him. In fact, we are both together, we sleep together, we eat together, you do everything together. So me personally, he's not a friend, he's a brother, my covenant. He called me my covenant brother, and I call him my covenant brother. Yeah, he was a figure in the EP church in those days, and I was also the national director for evangelism in the Apostolic Church. So one day he went to a program and he came, and when he saw me, he just came and embraced me, and he told me he loved me, and I also told him I love him. So we first met at the EP church. And then at the EP church, we tried to organize a revival for the church. So it came to a time that he went to a Bible school, and when he came, he told me he wanted to start a church. Because there is some faith in the EP church. He's not I can say he don't like that faith. Like speaking in tongues, like healing and all these things. There was a controversy. So he told me he wanted to start a church, and I told him, no problem, I'll help you. So I used my own instruments in those days to start the church. So he started the church, Good News. We started together in his hall, where we started the church. But by the grace of God, the church has now expanded. Oh, as I'm saying, we were very, very close together. We sleep together. Sometimes when he's in the bathroom, I can enter there. When I'm in the bathroom, he enter there. I have no adjective to describe what, the affection we have. We are like twin brothers. This man he's a man of passion. And he's a man who loves the lost souls. He always wants to use whatever he has, his finances. Sometimes, when even he don't have money, he can go and borrow money for evangelism. So his main purpose is to win souls. Last time he was telling me that, evangelist, for me, my business is soul winning. So soul winning was his focus. He was not doing the church for money. No. His soul winning is that his vision and mission is that souls will be saved. Oh, the memories I share with him is that along the line I traveled to South Africa. And then one day he called me, why? I must come. And he organized a crusade at Do in the northern region. And then we stayed there for 6 good months, continuous. We opened 14 branches in the north. There, sometimes you can kill a cow, you divide it, you share it to the members. Sometimes you can cook about 2 bags of rice, and the whole community will come. And then we share the food to them. Sometimes we also give them raw cash for transport to come. So this is the man. In fact, the church itself has lost a great patriot. It's difficult to get somebody like that. Very difficult to get somebody like that, who is having that passion of souls. Passion of souls. Well, the things he believed in, one of them is that there's somebody who believes in speaking of tongues. He believed in divine healing. And then he also believed in self-sufficient dedication, to dedicate yourself fully to the Lord. Oh, so many things. Yeah. What I remember from him is that, as I'm saying, he also cared for the needy. The needy. Last time I was saying that this man, as this man is gone, who is going to care for the needy as he was doing it? Somebody can continue, but he can't do it as he was doing it, because he was having the passion, and then he was having the visionaire to do that. Even before he passed away, he was caring for about 40 kids that he's caring for them. So he's cared for some of them in the universities, care for some of them in the secondary school, care for some of them in the international schools and local administration schools. Oh, me personally, as I'm saying, you were brethren. I'm like a brother to him. He has done the impact that he has done to me. I don't think I can get somebody like that in my life again. Because he may be sleeping, I don't knock the door, I just push The door sometimes he asked me, Evangelist, what can I do for you? I say nothing. He said, no, tell me something. I will say nothing. He will force me to tell you. When even I say something and the money is not there, he will just borrow somebody from somewhere to give to me. You were very, 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 in fact, I personally have lost a great deal. My final words is that we are praying very, I was the deputy general overseer to him. So when he passed away, I told the church that I personally can never stand as the general overseer because I will never sit on his seat. Up to now, last time I went to church, somebody to sit in the cabinet. I said, no, I will never sit there. Because when I sit, I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable. So, I'm done.
Wala Akpalu, Bishop Oyeme Papa, Onimi Tiye, Odimiko School, Odimiko Sien Juma, Meten Chain, Name Warrior, and Chebia Nano, if Anasmi Papa Intino, Idnoko Hospital, Meten 24 hours, Bibia, Yakwa up and down, many Yakwa up and down. Send your way our brain, Hunintino. Your brother who said 6 May. Papa, my friend Papa, Papa and Joso, me dimeka, me coffee nurse. Auntie nurse, bibi, how me papa you? And tell your dear, ya would dear see a mammy, a dear see be a boo. When you may find uncle and fancy a year, a would you my papa, why ya mammy, or mamma stronger yame, first name me quas or cake, but or church me, Edimiquens, equisico and papa so. Me ye near a dear nya or tiame me ba and yasa. Me ye jebia bio tisa. Papa we ye mammy, woman me who Christo, Ado Christo, who the Christo shaman, Imano soon, and yammy twins are free na. The babat so, near Casampa. A jano quarrel. The ye, you join ye, and chief farmer. Amen.
I got to know the bishop, that was in 2000, the year 2000, when we came from Nigeria to him in Ghana here. And then it all started when he heard of my dad at Nigeria. He heard that we are there back at Nigeria, so he sent for him to come together with us. So when we came to Ghana, we came to him. He received us very well, and then he got us to know that we are part of the family, and then he took us to the hometown and then showed us everything about our family, talked to us before we came back to Accra here. So we were here, he really took care of me. He took me like his son. Us before we came back to Accra here. So we were here, he really took care of me. He took me like his son, and then he cares for me much more than I deserve. And then he take me through education, and I came out peacefully. I came to live with him, and then I followed him for a while. I saw that he's a man who is after God's heart. He really takes the things of God serious. He's passionate about God. So that was one lesson that I learned from him. In fact, he really built me with those information. To his son, he does all to me as well. So I really appreciate him. I said, wherever he is, may his soul rest in peace. May God take care of him the way he takes care of people. I always say he's the father of many nations. He's the father of nations, because back when we are going for evangelism, we go as far as the north. We won a lot of souls, and I look at the way he can take care of multitudes in case of providing for them their needs, the food that they will eat. I'm really surprised. I have never come across someone like this in my life. So his life has really had an impact upon my life. So I give thanks to God for his life. I say, God bless him wherever he is. May his soul rest in peace. Amen.
My final words is, once you believe in something, just go for it. Because he believed in what he had been called into. He believed in his faith, and he went all out for it. This man is indeed a legend, and his memory would last with us until our very last dying day. So, let's just keep the faith, because if he was here, he would keep cheering us on to keep the faith no matter what happens. So let's just keep the faith, keep the unity, keep the love. And I remember his very last words, public preaching to us at the General Assembly. He talked about love, and I pray that that love he spoke about in the scriptures would continue to live with us and bind us together as a family and as a church body. And I believe that we would move from one grace that he's left us to even a greater grace. In Jesus' name, thank you.